Hello and welcome to another segment of Interviews That Matter. I'm your host Raj Mehta. Friends, in this segment we bring those guests who influence our lives. This includes elected officials, policymakers, heads of major organizations and other dignitaries. It is my sincere hope that the knowledge brought in by these guests will help our community. We have today's guest. His name is William Choi. William Choi is the Director for the Supplier Diversity at CUNY, City University of New York. CUNY is a combination of 25 different colleges in the city of New York. Will, thank you so much for coming, Will.
Anytime. Thank you for having me.
Really appreciate your time. I know you live in Westchester and you drove all the way out here to record the show. That tells me your commitment to the community. That tells me your commitment to the women and minority-owned businesses. Which is kind of for New York, it's kind of a very important for women and minority-owned business. So really appreciate you coming down here today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. And sorry about the traffic you had. No, nothing I can do rather. Well, so before we go into the CUNY subject, right? So I want to know about you first. That you currently running the diversity supplier management at the CUNY, right? So how did you reach here? What is your career path? How did you reach here where you are today? So talk about you.
So, oh wow. So after I graduated college, I actually ended up working for, I interned for the mayor's office of contract services, and then I got a job at the New York City Department of Small Business Services. And that's really at the time when Mayor Bloomberg was really restarting the city's MDB program. And so I was more in the procurement side, so we were really instrumental in making sure that minority and women-owned businesses really won contracts, especially at SBS, considering that we were certifying the firms and that we were running the procurement fair. So after that, I had a small stint at the Department of Finance where I was the procurement operations manager. And then shortly thereafter, the City University of New York reached out and they asked me if I wanted to start the Supplier Diversity Program at CUNY, and it was a wonderful opportunity where we got to really shape a program from the bottom up, really per se to say that. And so I took the opportunity, and 5 years later, here I am. Wow!
So you really started the program?
We did. So 5 years ago, we didn't really have, there was no supplier diversity focus at CUNY. It was certainly one of the many things that CUNY does, but certainly it wasn't a true focus. And so over time, we've really slowly started to change the conversation out at the campuses with the procurement individuals, also with really the, I would say, everybody who works around procurement, right? So, your facilities, your IT. So we're really trying to change the conversation at the university to make sure that MDBs, and now very recently, 2 years ago, service disabled veteran-owned businesses get a real opportunity to compete for our procurements.
I know it's a lot of colleges, right? You have to deal with many different colleges, and everybody kind of acts as a silo, individual, right?
Yep.
We
have 25 colleges at the City University of New York. Some of them we are at shared service campuses. Some of our smaller schools we do have a centralized procurement team, but generally for sure, definitely they used to have a lot more decision making out of the campuses, and right now we do a lot more shared, a federated model. We do a shared service kind of model where we'll do some of the procurement centrally, and then the colleges will do a lot of their own individual programs, right? So if you have a dental program, well, you're going to buy dental supplies directly from the college. Versus if you're buying armored car services, let's say where everybody needs, where we're picking up cash from all the colleges, we'll do one university-wide contract.
So the model has changed basically, after the program started.
The model has changed somewhat. I think that was just a nature evolving over time. We've had competing goals, right? So our administrative efficiency project, where we were trying to streamline our administrative functions, was at the same time when supplier diversity really came on board. And so to your point, we're really trying to drive value to the colleges, right, with MDBs and SDVOBs. We were never in a position to say, hey, MDBs, SDVOs, you have to use them. It was really more the sense sense that we wanted to make sure that we proved to the colleges that MDBs and SDVOBs had not only a right to compete, but also were a good value partner for our colleges.
So you've been successful so far, I believe so.
We've had some success. You know, before the program really began, you know, we were only spending about $500,000 with system-wide with MDBs and MDBs, and we're about 30 times higher. So
Wow.
it's good, but you know, we're not where we want to be in per se. We have higher goals, and we want to make sure that we're working towards those goals as well.
So you follow the New York State 15A law?
We do. So CUNY, I know it has the name city in front of the
Right.
name, and so some people do get a little confused.
Right.
But we are an instrumentality of the state, and so we follow state procurement guidelines.
Okay.
And so that's why we only accept state MDB certification. So vendors who are interested in doing business with CUNY, you know, while certification is not a requirement, you know, when we do have targeted solicitations where we do make that certification, in particular where we're going to target just MDBs, we do require those firms to be state certified.
Okay. So you use New York State certification basically.
We only use
ESD, Empire State Development, right? So
Yes.
ESD certification you use, right? So CUNY does not have any kind of further or like a. If I'm certified by the New York State, I can just come to you and say, hey, here's my certification. How can I participate?
Absolutely.
Something
We
like that.
will only accept, we'll only recognize state certification, but that's a good thing, right? Because the state certification, it's a unified certification for
Right.
all the state executive agencies.
Right.
So we don't require you to fill out any additional forms, give us any additional information. We know that it's a burden, right, to fill out all those forms. We don't want to add to that.
So, Will, 5 years ago, when you said you started 5 years ago this program, at that time there was very little kind of awareness about this program or use of WMBs. There were state goals at that time also, right? There were state goals.
There were state goals,
but they were not met probably.
They were there were challenges.
Generally speaking,
Yes.
right? I mean,
Yeah.
they were like, because there was no awareness, and you came in and you started this program, and you kind of tell them the value of using WMB and SDV.
Absolutely.
Right.
There's a tremendous value. We have to do business with the businesses, with the communities that we serve, right?
Right.
So especially because the student population is so diverse,
Right.
To not use MDBEs, we just didn't see that fit. We didn't understand. We needed to really dig down and say, hey, what are some of the challenges? What were some of the operational challenges, and how do we move beyond that? So we've done a little bit of soul searching, also fact finding, and sometimes it really took just some key leadership to make some changes and make some decision making.
The process here with CUNY is that the procurement, purchasing and procurement people, right? They are the one who kind of basically go out and buy and procure things for
Yes.
CUNY, right? Which is normal for everything, right? And your office will be sitting in the liaison in between, I believe. Is that how it works? Like, for example, anyone in CUNY or any colleges, they want to purchase something, purchasing officer or a procurement person will come to you for MB, WMB, identifying WM. How does it work?
Sure. So we consider ourselves to be the advocate.
I know. Okay.
We're the advocate for the college, because we're going to go and advocate for them and say, hey, this is the service, this is the good that they need. Help us meet their need. But at the same time, we're going to be the advocate for the MDBs and SDVOBs, because we're going to work with the MDBs and SDVOBs and say, hey, maybe this isn't. Maybe an MDB can't do the entire project, but they could do a part of the project. How do we unbundle the contract? Maybe the MDB doesn't have the financial capability to run the whole project by himself,
Right.
but there could be a good partner who could be the prime. Maybe the MDB could be the sub. So we're doing a lot of advocating. We're doing a lot of trying to make connections, and so that's how we see our role. At the same time, we do have compliance and reporting and outreach as well, and so we generally consider ourselves to be the advocate.
Oh, okay. So basically, you advocate MBs, WMBs, firms, And
Absolutely.
still the decision making is on the purchasing side or
It-
procurement side.
It is. You know, we want that because it's the best. That way, I can truly advocate for the MDBs and SVOBs, at the same time advocate for the colleges.
But you still report to ESD, right?
We do. We do our reporting to ESD just so that they are aware of kind of our program.
Right.
We do report our senior colleges to Empire State Development, and then internally and also to the community, we report out on our community colleges. So while we do have community colleges that are funded by the city, you know, we follow a system-wide approach, and so even our community colleges are part of our supplier diversity program using state-certified MDBs.
Okay, good. So if can I ask you a process, like, you know, your organization is basically advocate, so you are the door, kind of, you open the door, you know, you are the CUNY door, kind of, where anybody can come in and open the door, right? So tell us something about how a company who has no idea how to approach any CUNY, how can they go about it?
Sure. So, you know, we have a lot of resources available to the MDB and SDVOB community. You know, most notably our Sell to CUNY website. It lists all of our currently advertised procurements, as well as some of our kind of procurement forecast, as well as our chart for frequently purchased goods and services. So we have a lot of information out there, because some MDBs, they just want to do the research on their own, and that's okay. We're totally okay with that. You know, if they want to see which colleges buy their products the most and start from there, absolutely. Now, you know, being the advocate and the fact that there are 25 doors, let's say, you know, I'm here to help you open them if a door's not open. Right? If you're knocking on the door and you don't hear back, that's where I come in. Right? That's where I can say, hey, listen, an MDB has reached out to you. Can you reach back out? You know, hey, an MDB wants to meet with you. You know, let's see what kind of offerings there are. So I'm making those connections. I would say if there's an MDB who doesn't know where to begin,
Right.
come talk to us. We'll help you. You know, it's very unlikely that you'll be doing business with all 25 colleges at once, at one time, if you have never worked with higher ed before. And so we want to help you, or we want to help the MDBs kind of understand which door to open gently and then forcefully, right? So how do you get in the door? And then how do you develop a good reputation? How do you develop a good performance record? How do you then go on from there to another college, right? Because we also want to make sure that MDBs grow their business.
Right.
You know, one of our challenges, one of our things is that we don't want to see MDBs stuck at one school. We want MDBs to grow.
Right.
You know, growing means going to other colleges. Growing means taking on 3 projects instead of 2. Growing means taking on 5 projects. You know, so we want to make sure that there's kind of a path forward.
Okay, so like any MB, right? You know, like you just mentioned that, you know, you kind of, you know, look at the procurement and see how you can, if you can divide certain things if they are not. So the new people who have never done business with CUNY, they probably might fit into that category also.
Absolutely.
Right? Because, you know, I mean, people who are already doing business with, they're already kind of set in my mind.
You know, if you are already doing business with one school, definitely don't hesitate to reach out to us, reach out to my team to see how you can expand your business.
Okay.
But definitely businesses who have never done business with higher ed before, reach out to us. You know, we'd love to help you. We'd love to kind of get you started so that they're out there making sure, you know, and driving their own business and business sales.
First step is the ESD certification.
Absolutely.
That's the first step, that somebody who wants to do business with you as an MB got to get certified, WMB or SDVOB.
Absolutely.
They have to get certified by the state and then come to you.
Absolutely.
Right?
You know, one of the things that we're going to do if you don't have your certification is either refer you out to one of our technical partners.
Okay.
Right? We have 6 SBDCs located on CUNY campuses and 1 procurement technical assistance center.
Okay.
And so they're going to, you know, if you're interested in doing business with us, but let's say you don't have a good business plan, let's say you don't have a good marketing plan, you know, those are the partners that we're going to refer you on CUNY campuses, just so that we get you started, get a nice plan, get a nice kind of a approach to come back to work with us than to go towards the colleges.
I think in a SD, I mean this SDBC, SBTC, right?
Yes.
SBTC also helps in terms of procurement, like, because many times, businesses, like a small business, have really less time to kind of do a lot of different things on their own, right? Because they are busy in making money on them to put the food on the table.
Absolutely.
Basically. So they, like when the RFP comes out, I mean, you go through RFPs, many of them, right? Is it how it works, an RFP, right, process?
Well, it's a different. If we're looking for more of an approach, yes, of course we'll look for an RFP. If we're looking for straight shot, this is the we're looking for pricing. We're going to look for an IFB, an invitation for bid. For smaller dollar projects, we're going to use a request for quotes, and sometimes we'll even do telephone quotes. But going back to your point, the SBDCs, absolutely, they do help you frame your proposal, or they'll work with you on kind of pricing, how to set your price. They won't actually determine your price.
Right.
That's on the business side, but certainly they'll help you. They have the tools to help you kind of drive some of that
guidance, basically.
Absolutely.
Guidance kind of thing.
That's the one part where my team won't actually be able to help you, because we're still technically part of the state,
Right.
so we can't necessarily help you and help give a particular vendor an advantage over another in terms of bid pricing, so that we refer to our technical partners.
Let's talk about different procurement, like you just mentioned, right, that some of the telephone quotes versus RFQs versus RFPs. What are the thresholds of that? Like, for example, telephone quotes is what, 15,000 or something, under 15 or what? I don't know.
Sure. Telephone quotes are $20,000 or less.
20 or less.
Generally, it's for commodities, right? We're just buying a chair or buying a computer. Sometimes we're just trying to do that really quickly, and so the purchasing buyers have the authority to make telephone quotes.
Okay.
So definitely, I do encourage MDBs not to get alarmed when somebody calls and says, "Hi, I'm looking for a price." It's just part of our process.
Okay.
Anything less than $100,000, we'll use an RFQ.
Okay.
Right. Generally, those are less complex, and very short term. Right. So we're looking for usually 1 year or less. Very quick turnaround, because we can process that quickly as well. Our current informal purchasing threshold, when we're doing targeted procurements, right? So when we're targeting MDBs and SDVOBs, currently it's at $200,000.
Right.
But recent changes to state law has increased that to $500,000.
It's going up at January 1, right?
January 13th.
January 13th. Right?
Yep. So we'll be making that same change internally for our policies, just so that it'll reflect that $500,000 threshold. Now, just because it's $500,000 doesn't mean we have every procurement's going to be $500,000.
Right.
But it's just that we're going to have more ability, just to do more RFQs, to do some of that less complex work.
So this RFQ limit goes up to $500,000.
Goes up to $500,000.
Right, and RFP is above. that,
RFPs are
basically.
above, but we'll also use RFPs in instances where we're looking really for an approach. If we know the outcome, but we want to know the path to the outcome, generally that's going to be an RFP. We want the proposer to propose a unique or innovative approach to making sure our goals are being met. Those are more complex. I definitely encourage, especially if an MDB or an SDVOB is completing an RFP, is responding back to an RFP, to really seek assistance with technical partners, because there's a lot of little nuances and they do count. And if they do have questions, absolutely they should reach out to the designated procurement contact. I feel like sometimes people get hesitant to ask questions. And that's the worst thing. Ask away.
No question is dumb question.
No question is dumb question. Because at the same time, those questions help us, help the procurement person.
Right.
If there's something that we are not understanding ourselves, it gives us more time to either make some changes or gives us time to really respond and think for ourselves as well. So certainly, every question you can think of, you should ask.
Now, this RFQ $500,000 limit that is going up on January 13th, is this only for MWB? I mean, is there some procurement that you say, okay, this is only for MWBs, and this goes out in the world?
It does. So the $500,000 is when you're targeting one of 4 categories, right? So it's either you have to be a state certified MDBE, a state certified SDVOB, a New York State small business, or technology or products or commodities that have been recycled or remanufactured. Food products are still at $200,000, so we'll leave that food products aside. But generally, of course, those 4 categories, we can target to them. We can either do one or a combination thereof. So generally, CUNY's policy is that we'll target to both New York State certified MDBs and SDVOBs. So when we do an advertisement, as well as when people read in the solicitation, there'll be one sentence that says, pursuant to our authority under state education law and state finance law, this procurement opportunity is limited to New York businesses certified by New York State Executive Law 15A and or 17B, the SDVOB program. So you'll see a lot of those at CUNY.
Okay, so CUNY will advertise in Contract Reporter, and Contract Reporter basically will say specifically that this is for 15A people.
Yes, so we advertise all of our procurements in the Contract Reporter, but at the same time we also advertise all of our procurements on our Sell to CUNY website. So any vendor who's interested, right, that's a really great resource. Our website address is cuny.edu/sell to CUNY. And there, you can find all of our procurement opportunities, and most importantly, all of our contact information. So if you want to reach out to us, you know who to. And also kind of a general how to do business with CUNY, information on what we buy, so those things.
Is there any list that you maintain yourself that people can register, or?
So generally, we don't maintain any lists, but I do encourage MDBs to reach out to us and reach out to my team, because we want to get to know more MDB vendors who are interested in doing business with CUNY, right? So that when the colleges, they'll frequently ask us, hey, we have a small leak in a roof, and we need roofing contractors. Can you help us? And those are the times when we're usually using the directory, as well as vendors that we meet at one of our 30+ events that we attend, just to kind of make sure that we say, hey, this vendor expressed interest in doing business with CUNY. You should reach out to them.
30+ events, you say?
We do 30+ events a year.
In a year?
In a year, yes.
You go to every event?
I unfortunately can't go to every event, but generally my team and I, we go to about 30+ events. We do 2 large events each year. We do our annual CUNY and the Construction Fund's Supplier Diversity Conference. It's usually in either late July, early August. This year we had over 1,200 people register, so we were pretty excited about that. And also we do our Doing Business with New York City Public Education, and that's a collaboration with New York City Department of Education. And we do an MDB conference there, and last year we had 1,000 attendees, 1,000 registered attendees as well.
That's a big number.
It is.
It's a big number. I mean, so from CUNY side, it's all like procurement people will be there, or purchasing people will be there on this conference.
Absolutely.
2 big conferences that you mentioned.
So those are the opportunities. Especially if you're interested in doing business with CUNY, that's a must attend event, because that's the one time a year that you're going to meet all of the purchasing teams, all in the same location, so that you're not having to go to every campus or trying to make these cold calls. The purchasing directors and their staff are all there. And so sometimes cold calls are hard. It absolutely is. And so that's why we want to make sure we provide a forum, we provide an avenue for some of that organic connection making.
I know it's not easy for, like you must be getting so many phone calls every day. I mean, it's hard to reach everybody in the world. I mean, and same thing like purchasing people and procurement people, right? It's not easy. Their job is also, they have to do their job. On top of that, they have to answer these phone calls. So that's not easy. I understand that, because I've been doing this for 33 years, so I know exactly how it works. Now, the challenge is for like 1,200, right? That's a huge number, 1,200 number. I mean, that, out of that, I mean, let's say half of them are certified. Still it's a huge number. And the challenge for them, if let's say, for example, whoever is attending from the CUNY or procurement team or purchasing person, they meet 300 people, 200 people, 100 people, whatever. It's not easy for them to kind of remember everybody and do, right? I mean, it's a human. We are human. We are all humans.
Absolutely.
So what is the, obviously it's up to a person to kind of follow up and all that kind of thing. And how aggressive you are, how persistent you are, then you're going to get a result.
Absolutely. People always ask me, well, we don't want to be too aggressive, but we want to make sure, what's the perfect balance? I say it's not bad if you email somebody once a month. You could do a little bit more. I just wouldn't do a little less. You know, when I was a purchasing agent myself, you know, when I was a purchasing operations manager, I remember the vendors who always continued to reach out to me.
Right.
Because when it came time to a crunch time, when it came time to, hey, I need something very quickly, I remember the people who are willing to do business with us.
Right.
And so I think that's very important. Making sure, you know, it doesn't have to be, you know, some people choose to do mass emails, and that's okay, you know, but some people do personalized emails, and I think that's a little bit better, right? So sending a purchasing director, hi, you know, I'm here, I want to do business with you, just letting you know, if there's anything I can do to help you, I think that goes a long way.
I think you're right, yeah, because, you know, we are all humans, and we like to do business with who are interested in doing
Absolutely.
business. So you have to show your interest. And once you show your interest, they will remember you.
They will remember you.
Right?
Yeah.
So all of this thing works. I mean, attending event is one thing, but then following up is more important than...
Absolutely. Then, you know, I think the attending is just the beginning.
Yes.
It's just the beginning. There's a lot more to do to, you know, to learn about the opportunity, to win the contract, and also then perform on the contract.
Now, you know, you have new chancellor, new president. Obviously, you know, 5 years ago you started this program, and now you have a new team, leadership team, I would say. So you obviously, you know, I mean, I know from my experience that if, you know, your department doesn't have a support of leadership, it's not easy to, you know, meet your goal rather. So your new leadership has commitment, same commitment what used to be, or more?
You know, I think it's a lot more.
Lot more?
It's a lot more. I think the new chancellor is very much committed into the supplier diversity program, and we're so grateful for his leadership in this arena. You know, as the first minority chancellor for CUNY, I think he wants to make sure that there's inclusion and diversity in every aspect of our operations, including our financial side. He just launched his strategic plan. He announced his strategic plan at the conference.
Okay.
So they'll be making, you know, we've already started making operational changes, just so that we're making sure that we're incorporating more MDBs and SDVOBs in our everyday procurements. So he announced that we're doing a +3 initiative, and so we're making sure that, you know, in every CUNY solicitation, that we kind of do front to end, that we're incorporating a minimum of 3 MDBE and SDVOBs. We're making sure that they're part of the outreach, so that they have an opportunity to learn about our procurements and respond back. You know, we're reviewing all single and sole sources. I know sometimes people say, hey, you know, I can't participate because this is a single or sole source. So we're reviewing that centrally. You know, in the past, the colleges will make that determination, but now we're reviewing that centrally to make sure that those single and sole sources are true, and if they are, even if they are, if there's opportunities to unbundle them, right? So if we're buying a marketing software, but there's that implementation piece, you know, why can't we get an MDB to help with that implementation piece? You know, those are the things that we're going to start really unbundling, so to make sure that MDBs and SDVOBs get a fair opportunity to compete.
So this is the new chancellor's view, rather, I mean, vision, rather.
It is.
That he wants to increase the participation in many different ways.
Absolutely, and you know, 2 years ago, our chairman also had a goal for us. It was to double our MDBE spend.
Okay.
And so last year, 2 of our colleges had achieved that. Queens College and City College. You know, they were able to successfully double the amount of expenditures that they had the previous year. Last year. So in state fiscal year 18, they had, you know, one number, and state fiscal year 19, they doubled that.
Wow.
And so we, you know, the chairman has challenged all of us and challenged all the schools, and also, you know, the supplier diversity team, to make sure that all the colleges are doubling their expenditure base.
Wow. Wow, very good.
It's a challenge, but, you know, we're committed, and we want to make sure we meet that.
It's definitely a challenge, but, you know, maybe can I make a point to you? I mean, you know, that, you know, many times I've seen that, you know, people like you who runs the MBE program, they're just not liaison. They are also kind of any purchases that goes through, however, you know, I don't know whether the threshold or what, but they have to sign off on it. You know, that means, you know, that there is no, you know, like if they have a waiver,
Yes.
They have to sign off on it. Is that, so you do the same thing or no?
We do. So any solicitation over $25,000 actually comes to the supplier diversity team.
Okay.
We take a look at it to make sure if there are actually if it's appropriate for goal setting.
Right.
And then if there are goals, then we do the whole back end compliance along with the college. So we are looking at every procurement really at the beginning.
Okay.
And then if there's a necessary need, we'll look at it at the end for the compliance work as well. And anything in between, right? So every utilization plan and every waiver actually gets reviewed by myself.
Oh,
It's a lot. It's a lot of plans, and so we work with the contractors, especially when they're giving us requests for waivers. We work with them because sometimes, they could just be an out of CUNY is a national brand, right? It's we're tracking companies from California, from other states, from other countries,
Right,
And so
right,
sometimes they don't understand or they haven't had experience doing business in New York,
Right,
And we're
right.
just here to help them better understand that. There's a New York way.
Well, oh, absolutely. Listen, hey, you're doing business with New York.
Yeah.
So in New York.
In New York.
You got to do New York way, right? Good. So you do have to sign off. That's what it means.
We do.
Only the waivers or everything.
Utilization plans on the waivers, so everything,
Everything, right.
we do look at them.
Good. How many people in your team?
There's two. We have two people,
Okay.
but generally a lot of the functions are shared with our purchasing directors.
Okay.
So certainly, they're doing a lot of vendor meetings. So sometimes, either myself or my team members, we'll just kind of call in. But definitely, it's a small team, but I think we want to make sure we're making a good impact and have kind of sharing the responsibilities with the colleges.
Pretty busy.
It is.
Let me talk to you first that, I want to talk to you about some of your contract successes. Like, you've been doing this for 5 years and, you already, like 2 of the colleges reached, double their spending on WMBs. So I'm sure that you have wonderful stories to tell us about your successes and what it took, to be successful there.
So going back on our contract successes, we're pretty excited because I always laugh with my my leadership team. I've been there 5 years. I'm actually living out some of these old contracts, so we're able to incorporate MDBs into the new contracts. And so one of the kind of interesting things that we've done is really 3 of our schools outsource their janitorial and cleaning services, right? Because they're in leased buildings, and so they have different unions. So they don't use in-house staff. And in the past, there were no MDBs who participated in cleaning contracts. And so this year, we signed at the Graduate Center a multi-million-dollar contract for 5 years, $12 million of which is going to go to an MDB and SDVOB firm. So an MDB firm is doing some of the back office janitorial, and then we have an SDVOB firm who's doing a little bit of the engineering services for the building maintenance. So we're really excited about that because it's a big contract for us, for the Graduate Center especially. We onboarded a education advisory board. They're kind of student success software platform, and so we're working on that. And that was an out-of-state firm, right? And so we were able to successfully incorporate MDBs, 3 of them. One for tier 1 support, another one for project management, a third one for one of our software developments. So we're excited about that project. That was $20 million. We have 20% MDB participation, and what wasn't part of that participation was really the software fees.
Right.
It was just the annual maintenance fees, and so we're excited about that. Out at LaGuardia Community College, across the system, we all have boilers and chillers. They all need to be cleaned.
Right.
And we have big national players who are in New York State, in New York City as well, in New York State, and they have they're dominant in this market. And we really wanted to make sure an MDB and SCVOB either participated as subcontractors, which the national firms have really pushed back on, or even just as primes. So at LaGuardia Community College last year, they awarded an MDB firm complete as prime to do their water maintenance, their boiler and water maintenance services, and so we're really excited about that as well, because hopefully we want to again go back to that firm and say, hey, were you successful? Did you make money? You know, are you thinking about expanding your business to other CUNY colleges? So we're pretty excited. We're watching that very carefully just to make sure, you know, if there's any support that they need from us, that we're providing them so that we can help them grow. So, you know, those are just 3 of really many success stories that we have across the system. You know, but of course we always want more.
Right, yeah. So all these 3 examples that you gave, right, were there a new firm that is added, or new firm who started doing business with CUNY, or they were already doing business with CUNY?
They're all new firms.
They're all new firms, right?
All new firms.
So they all came through your door first, and that's how they got wherever they got, like multi-million-dollar contract.
Yep.
Congratulations.
Thank you, thank you.
You know, can I be that firm? So no, thank you very much. So, you know, we definitely appreciate all your work. You know, I mean, I always tell about you know, MTA's Michael Garner. Everybody's doing a wonderful job, and you know, we definitely thank all of you for doing your job, so we be successful.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah. So, and same thing. You know, I used to be in 8A program for SBA, Small Business Administration, and same thing. You know, SBA does a wonderful job, Small Business Administration, you know, for the federal contracting.
They do.
Right. So that also they do. Right. Yeah. So for example, these are the new firms. Obviously, you know, that brings me to Mentor Prodigy. Like, you know, I'm a part of, you know, New York State Mentor Prodigy program. So I do, you know, I've been doing this for a long time, and I've learned many things hard way. And I do like mentor other small people who are starting in a New York State. You know, not everybody, but you know, I mean, we get a list, and I have to choose who I want to mentor, or who I can mentor rather. And do you have that kind of program there?
We do. So last year we launched, we did a soft launch of our mentorship project program. And so what was interesting for CUNY was that, you know, I really went out and I studied mentor protege program, and you know, there's a lot in the construction industry.
Right.
Absolutely, there's a lot in the construction industry, but CUNY, we don't do any major construction. You know, we do that with the construction fund and also through the dormitory authority.
Okay.
So DASNY does majority of our construction.
Okay.
You know, so CUNY, we're really in that, we were in that kind of industry, that sphere that didn't really have a clear pathway of what a mentor protege program would look like.
Right.
So, you know, we went out, we did a lot of research. I spoke with people from other schools, other universities, you know, what were their successes, what were their challenges, and so we worked to develop a mentor protege that we thought would work best for us. And it is tied to one of our contracts. So we recently awarded a contract for maintenance, operations, and repair supplies and hardware through Granger.
Oh, Granger, okay.
And we said, well, how are we going to make sure that MDBs not only participate as a subcontractor, but also learn the business model? You know, and Granger themselves, they admitted it. You know, listen, they're one of many national players, and they and they also share the same commitment with us to helping smaller vendors really grow their business.
Right.
So we said, hey, listen, you know, how are we going to get this? How are we going to achieve our goals together? You know, we have all this business that we want to make sure that we're doing together, and how do we make sure that MDBs really get a fair place? So our mentorship program, it's based on kind of the MDBE being the primary, you know, they're the customer facing with us, and in the back end, Granger not only supports them, but they also give access to pricing. And one of my key things was they're also helping the MDBE firm make new relationships with different OEM, with different manufacturers.
Oh, okay.
Because we know, listen, we know that MDBs are going to do great. They're going to be great. But if they don't have access to the manufacturer, they're never going to get the same pricing as Granger.
Absolutely.
They're never going to achieve that.
Never do that.
It's, you know, and then we turn around, we're trying to do business with them, and we keep on telling them, hey, listen, you need to lower your cost because, you know, we can get it somewhere else. And we eventually then end up just squeezing the MDBE for no reason. So we wanted to make sure that our mentorship program makes those connections to those key manufacturers. And so last year, you know, a year later, right? So we're reviewing with the MDB partner. You know, they're able to meet 5 new manufacturers. They're actually going and competing on a Nassau County project.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and so you know, we're excited to hear that. You know, they've been able to grow their business by 20%.
Wow, nice.
So it's that's what we want to see.
So that's a step further than anywhere else I saw, kind of meta-protege program.
It is. We want to make sure that
Yeah.
our proteges
Right.
have a strong core business outside of CUNY
Right.
in 4 years.
Right.
So, traditionally mentorship protege program, it's really the mentor and the protege is really gaining some business skills, right?
Right.
But we thought at CUNY, we have this opportunity, we have those dollars that we want to spend anyway.
Right.
How do we translate that to how does a protege pretty much graduate
Right.
from this program? What do they say in 4 years? What do they do?
Right.
And in 4 years, we've always said, hey, listen, in 4 years, we're gonna say goodbye.
Right.
And when we say goodbye, what's your plan?
Right. It's similar to 8A
Yes.
program. 8A is 9-year cycle. 9 year they expect the firm to kind of grow out of 8A.
Absolutely.
It's similar to 8A program.
I haven't been here in 9 years, so I had to shorten that a little bit.
Right. No, but only difference is that 8A, there is no mentor. There's no mentor. You just do yourself. That's a different with here. You connect with a mentor and you make sure that mentor gives some other support.
Absolutely.
Support.
One of the things I would say the MDB firm, what really stuck with me is they talked about their collection practices, right? And so, CUNY, we have a commitment to make sure our invoices are paid in 30 days or less.
Right, yeah.
And so, sometimes we hit it. Sometimes we're day 32, 33. We're trying to do better ourselves.
Right.
And so, we had Granger come in and help this MDB firm understand how they do collections.
Right.
Where does collections begin?
Okay.
Where do those efforts begin? And they actually begin at the time of delivery of the good, right? So they said, hey, pick up the phone, call the end user. Did you get it? Did you like it? Is there something I can help you with? And that should start the collection effort, right?
Wow.
Okay, you like it? Great. Here's an invoice. Pay it. And that's the beauty of it.
Right, yeah.
Rather than waiting.
Right.
Did you like it? Maybe have no communication, then send an invoice, then maybe have a return later on. That proactive understanding, that proactive learning. I think that's so invaluable to an MDB firm.
I think it's very important. Yeah, that's a good lesson that they can learn. Many times they don't do all these things. They don't think rather.
Absolutely.
They don't think. Not do, but think.
But as a small business, you're trying to think about everything.
Right.
You're trying to think about new business at
Right.
the same time of keeping your business, as well as how where your customer base. So we want to make sure that we do whatever we can to make it that it's easy for a small business to do business with CUNY.
Good, very good. It's a good program, I think.
Thank you.
It's a very good program.
We're going to launch our second cohort.
Okay.
And this time it will be for IT hardware.
IT hardware. Okay.
So one of our other major spends besides facilities is IT.
Okay.
And so our next cohort is going to be launching in the next a month or so.
Okay.
And so we're really excited about that because we'll have one partner designated to every borough, except for Staten Island, which will be part of the central office.
Okay.
So we'll have a partner that's based in every borough and who's going to be doing business with all the borough-based colleges.
Good. Very good, very good. I think it's a very good program. It's very progressive and it definitely will help a lot of companies, small companies rather.
Thank you.
Appreciate it really. What is the most common opportunities at the end in the CUNY?
Sure. So we buy a lot of facilities products, maintenance, repair, and operations. We also buy office supplies, a lot of classroom furniture. So we do buy a lot of office furniture, but classroom furniture definitely takes key. We're buying auditorium style seating. We're buying classroom desks. In return, we also buy a lot of audiovisual equipment and supplies, and that's we'd love to find more MDBs there. If you sell audiovisual and you install, please reach out to me. We want to find more of those vendors.
Wow. Okay.
Absolutely. The smart boards, the projectors, the screens. Because we're always trying to update our classrooms, and so that's a key opportunity for us. We do everything from flooring to minor repair. We do have a plan to upgrade some of our facilities to be compliant with ADA, American Disabilities Act.
Right.
So certainly, at Bronx Community College, they're doing a lot of bathroom upgrades. We do a lot of actually playgrounds. We operate childcare centers, and so we do some playgrounds. We're City College is building out a new childcare center. So we're doing those kind of activities. Lots of books.
Oh, okay.
Books, periodicals, whether they're either out of print or we're just buying mass copies. We buy tons of those. We had an RFP out for food service operations, and so catering is also kind of a key component there. As long as you can deliver to, it's not easy to deliver sometimes food to some of our campuses, but certainly food is also key. Sports equipment. We buy a lot of sports equipment. Whether they're just either be jerseys or baseballs or those kinds of activities. And everything from your office supplies, right? Computers, hardware, printers. We buy a lot. We buy everything that I would say like a mini city does, except for, we don't buy like fuel, water, or gas, basically.
Right. That's supplied by Con Ed or somebody.
Yep.
Right. Obviously,
NIPA for our senior colleges, Con Ed for our community.
Exactly. There you go. There you go. Yeah. Well, really good. Thank you for information that you have given us.
Anytime.
Appreciate it really very much. And if you want to add anything at this time.
I just encourage all vendors, especially those that are certified by the state of New York as minority women or service-disabled veteran-owned businesses, to really, to look at our website, our Sell to CUNY website, see if there's anything that we're buying that you can offer, and if we're not, reach out to us anyway to see, to start the conversation. Because we love to work with more MDB and SULB vendors. We just want to make sure that we find the right partners for our colleges.
Right.
And we're excited. We want to. We have our own internal goals that we want to meet, and we need the community's help.
Good.
We need the help.
I think it's a mutual benefit
Absolutely.
mutual benefit, right? Yeah. Good. Thank you. Thank you for joining us today. If you have any questions, comments, you can email me at rajmitv@gmail.com. That's again rajmitv@gmail.com. You can watch our prior shows on YouTube at youtube.com/rajtechny. Again, that's youtube.com/rajtechny. Until next time, have a great week.
Thank you.